Hi guys, my name's Elizabeth. Welcome to my channel if you're here for the first time, and if you're returning, namaste, I love you. And today's video topic is going to be on what the hell is enlightenment anyway? How many of you have searched for enlightenment or began taking classes or doing yoga and thought that you might like to pursue at some point a state of enlightenment? Or how many of you have actually even thought about enlightenment? What is enlightenment? Do you really know what enlightenment is? Do any of us really know what enlightenment is? When someone asks if you're enlightened or if someone's enlightened, what picture comes to your mind? Do you ever see yourself as becoming enlightened in this lifetime? Do you see yourself already as an enlightened person? Have you ever thought about becoming enlightened? You know, it's so surprising how often we hear things or we say things, and, you know, we have this abstract concept of some of these deeper topics, but we get so caught up with day-to-day life, what's affecting our own personal bubble, that one of the major problems is that we actually don't stop to think about what we're thinking about. You know, it's my goal here on this channel to help other addicts like myself move past your obsessions and compulsions and move into a life of prosperity and abundance. I can only do so much. Hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button and you'll hit that bell notification so that at the very least, maybe if you watch my video once a week, twice a week, however often I post, at least for that 10 or 15 minutes, maybe it will remind you to stop and think about what you're thinking about. Your thoughts are so powerful. You know, your thoughts are, when you're thinking, you're in a creative state. Not so much just when you're thinking, but what you're feeling is your creative state. So it really doesn't matter what the thought is, actually. What matters, where the creative flow is what the emotion is that's attached to the thought, okay? So our reticular activating system, which is this genius piece of machinery that we've included in ourselves. That give us access to what we consider, what we deem is the most important bits of information. Because the human brain cannot process 11 million bits of information per second. It does, but we don't need that much information. We don't need to be that overloaded. We wouldn't be able to function in this day-to-day life, this day-to-day matrix of a life, if we didn't have that reticular activating system. Yet it's us who's programming this wonderful piece of machinery. For many, many years, my RAS system made me very, very miserable. It also kept me addicted. It also kept me using. But what I didn't know was that not only had I programmed it, but that I could actually rewind, erase, and start over again. Thank you, Lord, for that. Enlightenment really is knowing yourself on the most deepest a spiritual level. A lot of people think that it's knowing God or knowing all of the universe, knowing all that there is. Enlightenment really is just death of the ego. And that comes in, it's not like an event that happens. It's not like you just all of a sudden you have this major event that's going to be called your ego death. And now from here on after, you're enlightened and you're this happy-go-lucky spiritual being. More than likely. More than likely, what enlightenment is going to be for you is what it is for me. And that is, you will have moments where you will have awareness. You will have moments of awakening. And they may be fleeting because you will go back into day-to-day life, or you will get caught up again in events and outside circumstances that you really think are affecting you. Really, it's all part of your internal dialogue and your internal soul purpose. But in the moments that you're not awakened, you don't know that. It feels like the outside influence and that you're caught up in that outside influence. Now, I didn't realize that when I was 15 or 16 years old and I was shaving my legs in the shower, and I literally remember being in the shower and running the razor along my legs, and I was in that present moment of shaving, but then I started thinking about how I was thinking. And then I started thinking about the fact that I was thinking about what I was thinking about. And quite honestly, it started to freak me out. It really started to freak me out. And I thought, wow, I'm crazy. Like, I'm really crazy. Like, I can't believe I'm sitting here in the shower, shaving my legs, and I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about, and how I'm thinking about, that I'm thinking about, that I'm thinking about all this. What happened was suddenly I had this moment where I was observing myself. I was observing the avatar that I'm manipulating. It also was showing me, although I didn't realize it at the time, it was showing me that I was not my thoughts. The fact that I was observing, the fact that I was thinking, showed me that I was something even more than my thoughts. But it scared me so, and it was such it's not like I could go to anybody else around me and ask this deep philosophical question. Why was I thinking about what I was thinking about, what I was thinking about? You know, it was like taboo. It's just like too weird of a topic. And then going back even further, I remember being 10, 11, maybe 12 years old. And actually, I guess I had been having the thoughts already. And I asked my uncle, I said, Alan, I said, why is it that, I said, have you ever thought about the fact that why are you and you're not me? Or, you know, why am I me? Or why is grandma? Like, why are we us and not somebody else? Have you ever thought about that? The fact that, you know, I have my perception from this body of Elizabeth, but you have this perception from this body that is Alan? And he shook his head, yes. He knew exactly what I was talking about. I'm sure he probably never had asked another person in his life that question. He obviously just pondered it and then did like most of us do, and we just kind of, you know, it gets too deep. The ride gets too wild, and then we want to squash it down. But then we wonder why we have problems. Then we wonder why we're constantly in the pursuit of this thing called happiness. we do get these fleeting windows, if you will, into who we really are and what we're doing here. But we don't feel comfortable living in it. It's too much to take many times. And because it's a lot of unanswered questions out there, people pretend to want to give you the answers. There's a lot of dogma and religion. But if you're like me, how many years did religion just scare the shit out of you? Okay? Because if you didn't believe a certain way or think a certain way, how many people are stopped from even knowing the truth because their religion tells them if they dare listen or so much as entertain somebody else's view, that they are sinning and are opening themselves up to possibly be eternal consequences, okay? Scares the crap out of us, okay? So then you shut down even more. So then you're going to church every Sunday, but you're using during the week. You know, you're still binge eating. You're still looking at porn. You're still drinking. You're still going home and beating your kids, your wife and your kids, okay? Because we have these moments where it's like we are given this gift where we are introduced to our greatness in a way. We get this sneak peek. We get to tap in. And instead of accepting our greatness and stepping into it and continuing on that path, the recommendation has always been that we squash it down, right? Because we still want to be loved. We want to be accepted. We want to be able to hang out with our friends and just be accepted and just be cool. We don't want to be thought of as too out there. What's so important to me is that on my channel, you are maybe hearing things that you've heard before, but you're actually now, I want you to stop and think about what you're hearing and try to accept the fact that you are already enlightened without introducing any other labels, okay? What does the law of attraction teach us? It is the most powerful law in the universe, after all. So the law of attraction has taught us that whatever we want, we have to become. And if enlightenment, which in all reality is simply ego death, it's simply knowing who you truly are, it's simply accepting truth as truth and being a seeker of the truth. Even if the truth is something you don't want to hear or is what you might consider a little hard to swallow, to be enlightened means to be a seeker and an acceptor of what is true. No matter what, you are just seeking the truth. And law of attraction has taught us that in order to have something, we need to be that thing that we want to have. So the reason happiness is fleeting is because you have not yet made the choice to be happiness. And the reason enlightenment is fleeting is because you have not yet made the choice to be enlightened. So I encourage you to, even if it's for 10 minutes in the morning, while you're doing your gratitude practice and your meditation practice, to just accept the fact that while you are meditating, while you are in that meditation practice, that the reason you are meditating and the reason that you are grateful is because you are enlightened. You are already enlightened. Once you accept the fact that you are already enlightened, now the window is open. We have the window open. Once the window is open, the breeze comes through. So we're already enlightened. It might not mean necessarily that we have the entire truth yet. And it also does not mean that the ego is not going to come back during the day and affect you. It's, it's not like you're flipping a light switch though. Now I'm enlightened, I'm not. Now I'm enlightened, I'm not. Now I'm enlightened, I'm not. Now I'm enlightened, not. No. So you're enlightened. You are already an enlightened being. If you have the capacity to think about what you're thinking about, if you are aware that you exist, do you exist? You are enlightened. Now your window is open. Now you can let the breeze in. Accept that you're going to still get mad today. Accept that you're still not going to be perfect today. Accept that you haven't quite manifested the dream home yet, or the dream car yet, or you haven't quite gotten past that addiction yet. That's okay. That has nothing to do with the enlightenment. As a matter of fact, the fact that you are already enlightened probably has a lot to do with the fact that you are still currently caught in some sort of an obsessive issue. Because your ego does not want to die. The ego does not want to let go. The ego will stretch and reach and grab for anything it can to keep you dependent on it, to keep you believing that you are, in fact, part of this matrix that you're not a part of. You're simply an observer of it, and you are the creator of it. But you are not affected by it at its will. It's affected by your will. All right, guys, with that, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. If the message spoke to you at all, had any meaning, anybody who might benefit from it, please consider sharing it. And I'll see you back here again real soon. I love y'all. Namaste.